There are two types of disruptions. There's disruptions where the two sides, the malubish and the malbish, literally become one. Like for example, the nefesh is slavish in the goof. As a result of that,
a living body.
Huh?
Comes a living body.
Living body. It doesn't disintegrate. Does it become smart as a result of that? You understand? The good doesn't understand anything. The koyach haseichel, that means neshama. The neshama is like a mislavish in the good. In the sense, okay, I'm jumping a little bit, okay? So this is the first type of slapshus. The slapshus where they unite completely. That type of slapshus from the part of the neshama is me'at miseir. It's a very minuscule amount of the nefesh or the neshama slavish in the guf, where it's actually slavish. And it doesn't have shelifel habitul. It will not affect the bitul in the goof as a result. The goof will not turn around and say, "Oh, neshama, that's the main thing." He will never say that. He will say, on the contrary, I'm the main thing in the goof. Thank you for keeping me alive. Excuse me, pardon me. Then there's another kind of slapshus. This other kind of slapshus is possible only when the mislavish can affect the goof, for example, and not get affected.
Why is that important? Like why is that important?
Because if it gets affected, then it loses its quality and becomes like the goof. The goof does not have the ability to understand anything. He has no seichel, no shachas to seichel whatsoever, or to midas for that matter.
So it remains what it is, and it affects the body.
So therefore, that slapshus is a different kind of slapshus. This is a slapshus where he affects the body. And he affects the body to the point where the body becomes completely subservient and bottled to the nefesh. So this question, why does it have to be such an Ayin that does not become affected, is answered from both sides. If it becomes affected, then then it no longer has its quality. Because it does not become affected. And then if it becomes affected, then it loses its quality, and then the body becomes the ruler. Then the neshama loses its quality. Because it doesn't become affected, the neshama can guide the body, and the body simply follows it as a subservient entity. It's a bitul. Yes, a bitul.
It influences the body or the nefesh habahamis?
Same thing.
Same thing. Does it influence the nefesh habahamis, which influences the body, or it influences them both? The body, you say, doesn't have seichel. The nefesh habahamis does.
Well, we always mention together nefesh guf and nefesh habahamis. The truth is that the primary effect is on the nefesh habahamis, but the guf is also affected. The guf also becomes refined, and the more, for example, the more a person learns, the finer becomes his brain. Also, his brain becomes refined. Becomes more sensitive to seichel. Doesn't become seichel, becomes more sensitive to seichel.
What is the ma'at zeir of? Not the nefesh habahamis.
No, from the nefesh, from the neshama. Very.
The neshama we're talking about is not this is higher than the.
That's right.
Nefesh habahamis.
A very small amount. It's kind of a odd way of speaking of the neshama, but a very small reduced effect of the neshama is mislabish in the guf, in a manner that the guf can actually reunite with it.
So this is lower than the nefesh elicits.
This is the lowest aspect of the nefesh elikis. This is what we call nefesh, that which gives life to the guf.
The lowest aspect of the nefesh elicits.
Right. From the shama. Life element. That is actually mislabish, and as a result, mislabish means as a result the guf acquires that quality. But that's it. It doesn't affect any bitul in the guf.
What, the quality of life? What quality?
Yeah.
The quality of life, of chayes.
It lives. It doesn't disintegrate. The guf and the nefesh will not last for more than 3 days.
So this morning when you mentioned that the mashal of the tree and the fruit, to say that, what was the point there? We said that it's mushrash but atzmos. I didn't understand the fruit. What was the point that we're getting at there?
Okay, here's what we're getting. The principle of mushrash is comes back on us all the time, and we very easily lose the significance of that, because mushrash to us means this is where it starts off, but that's not the point of mushrash. Mushrash means is that this is what it represents.
And why does the fruit represent the earth more than any other part of the tree? Well, they all represent the earth.
Well, yeah, more than any other part of the tree representing the earth. That's what you mean.
That you brought out the point that fruit dafka represents the earth.
Well, the reason I mentioned that the fruit represents the earth is because the tree is very, very close to the earth. It's very much akin to the earth. There's nothing much to it. The chayes in the tree is very minuscule. But a fruit is a real product. Fruit, Gabi the earth, Gabi the tree is a ruch nisikirina.
I understand.
Don't understand? I have this talk, instinct versus intellect. Did you listen to it?
Many times.
Many times?
Yeah, more than.
Well, that's what I did discuss over there.
So this is the same Inyan that the fruit is the kind of the ultimate as the fruit. You said that
The fruit is like a separate creation. Everything grows like the tree draws its nourishment from the earth. In what form? In the form of minerals and vitamins, whatever it is, all kinds of things. It becomes part of the tree. There is not any focused creation thereby. It's just like a development, a natural development, almost like an evolutionary process. It draws from it and it lives. It has sustenance or it stands. Comes a fruit. A fruit, besides being very nourishing and having all kinds of special exquisite tastes and so forth, it also has a very special appearance. This appearance is completely out of kilter with the earth and the tree.
it's totally different.
Totally different world.
Mm.
Where does that come in all of a sudden? You have minerals and okay. What is the tree? What is the apple? How is the apple related to the tree and the earth? The apple represents the godly statement. Let there be an apple. That godly statement does never becomes part of the whole earthly process.
In the tree, you can't really see that so much because it looks like a natural process.
In the tree, right? In the tree, in the tree, there isn't that. Yeah, of course, everything is God created, but there isn't. It doesn't. It becomes part of the process. It's slavish in the part of the process in the earth and the tree. The apple is an actual representation of the Creator, so to speak.
Hashem also said that let there be a tree.
Right. That's right. But the tree is the outgrowth of the earth, and the godly element in this is, as you say, that's what's minuscule. It has a koyach and it lasts and it grows and it lives. Like we said many times, the difference between the human being, the human soul, and the heart of the animal soul. The human being lives from his soul, the animal lives from his soul. The difference is that the animal soul makes a living body. The human being is a soul in the body. That soul of the human being never becomes body. It's a soul in the body.
Life in the body.
Life in the body. The animal is a living body. It's much more living than the tree, but it's still body. This is what we're saying, that's mislabish, but it's mislabish in a manner that it causes bitul in the goof.
That the body does not become, that the body becomes a keli for life. That's what you say, that affects bitul in the goof, that the life can express itself on a bodily level.
The body becomes a keli. For example, we put on tefillin on our bodies. Does the body understand putting on tefillin?
Does the mind?
The mind does. I mean, the mind understands various, of course, various aspects of it. First of all, that's a godly command. That mind understands that. And it understands what it does and how it does it. The body has no idea at all. Put on tefillin on your body 100 years. 101st year, will the body put on tefillin on its own? You trained already. You did it so many times. Come on.
Doesn't it evolve?
What?
The body doesn't evolve.
Doesn't evolve. You did it already so many times. It won't happen.
So the fruit is like representing the life element.
The fruit represent, right? The fruit and represent the shoirish. Who makes it? Who is doing it? And it remains that the koyach of the etzem. The fruit represents the koyach, the statement, the direct, current statement of God. You be a fruit. That's what the fruit represents. Just as putting on tefillin, it's a current statement. I'm putting on tefillin. This is why we're saying that this is a hislapshus, or because it is shalei b'erech, therefore this hislapshus affects a bitul in the goof. What's meant a bitul? A bitul means that the goof is accepting a kind of activity that it has absolutely no understanding in.
What was the point of bringing the story about David HaMelech and Uri Achiti? That was to show the kind of bitul that it affects?
That's right. That bitul to the etzem elicits bitul. Not by command, but by virtue of its presence. Let me elaborate on this, okay? What is the fundamental difference between etzem and its derivative? I said that automatically elicits bitul. The fundamental difference, like Ram said, motivation, etzem has no evolutionary process. Etzem does not come from any place. Etzem is its own reality. Everything else is not its own reality. It's automatic on the secondary rung. And therefore, in the presence of etzem, it completely dissipates. The Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, Moyach shalit al halev. The Moyach rules the body. There's spoons over here. Moyach shalit al halev. And he says, Moyach shalit al halev b'teva tul dosei. It's a teva, that the Moyach is shalit al halev. Why is it that the moyach is Shaltalat? Everybody knows what that means? The moyach, the brain, rules over the heart. Why is it that the brain rules over the heart? The union of the brain, of the moyach, is the brain does not take things because it feels like. It takes things because it recognizes its truth. Like it creates it because that's the truth. This is the principle of a brain, of the brain. There's nothing compelling you to do this. You do it because you choose to do it. The heart is in a completely different level. The heart is affected. It feels. So anything that you do because you feel, and it's very nice, but it lacks the absolute aspect, the bechira aspect. In the presence of the brain, the heart melts away.
The brain is a primary substance, like a primary reality. How does it depend on reality? Is there something?
The heart is affected. The brain is created, is an initiator.
This explanation is to explain what?
To explain the principle of bitul. How it causes bitul in the body and the whole principle of bitul. Bitul is not something that you have to be in the bottle. It's in the presence of that, of something. Maybe it can become a bottle automatically.
We had before that the heart needs to be touched. So I guess somehow mind talks its language or touches it.
Right, that's what the mind does. It explains to the heart, this is good. This is proper.
Saying it's bringing something from a truth level, absolute level, to a feeling.
There are two aspects. The heart to be touched. Okay, I hear what you're saying. It shouldn't confuse. The touching of the heart means that the heart actually becomes affected, and it feels, and it, so to speak, automatically responds to this. That's the touching of the heart. But then there is this subservience of the heart. There is the bitul of the heart, and the heart is a bottle to the brain. That is because of the brain's special position.
And somehow the heart is deferential, or the heart senses the special position of the brain.
Yes. As a matter of fact, the Alter explains the heart gets its highest nourishment from the brain. So, okay, you feeling better now? Mm-hmm. The heart is feeling better? Mm-hmm.
Any chance we can go from the Nathli Asiya, that part of it?
From where? Where?
Is there the Isa Zohar Parshas Bala?
Oh, Nathli, yeah. So, Nathli Asiya, that's what you mean?
Yeah, this whole piece of it.
All right.
When you said the word sham, you went back and you looked at the original quote from the, or another quote from the Zohar.
Zoya, right,
Is that also in Parshas Bo?
right.
The Sham, what does Sham tell you?
So means in the same place with the original quote that it was. Yisn ha'cheshach, yisn ha'oim in ha'cheshach, utei ha'cheshach.
For the this conversation, that it's not even a conversation when the neshama shows its atmos to the nefesh habahamis. How did it get to that place that all of a sudden it does this? Because this is not constant. What this face-off between the neshama and the nefesh habahamis. This doesn't come. Oh, it's not constant. It's not constant.
Your question by implication is, we say that the neshama effectuates a bitul in nefesh habahamis, then we have this paramount question: how come there is such a tremendous battle, and how come the battle is not always the victor in the battle is not always the nefesh, and sometimes the nefesh habahamis is the victor. Right? Every time something happens that's untoward and is inappropriate, that the nefesh habahamis is a victor. How is it possible?
Well, what do you mean, how is it possible? In light of what? The fact that this, by its presence, it should affect the bitul?
Yeah.
And then therefore, how could the nefesh habahamis ever be
That's what you're saying, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. That's the question.
And the same thing, okay, might as well, if we can touch this, the same thing goes back to the quote from the Tanya. Okay, and this is something which is very sensitive. We have to try to understand. The Tanya we quoted just now, that Moyach shalet halev, the Moyach rules over the heart, and in the Tanya in general, the heart represents the midos, and this is where the Yetzer Hara, this is where nefesh habahamis is, and the Moyach, this is the nefesh habahamis is mislabish in the Moyach. That's a general meaning. So, and Moyach shalet halev b'teva tulos, it's a natural thing. And then, after having said that, he says that kol odom, every person, any person, is capable, with his will that's in his brain, to rule over his heart. In other words, it's not something that's going to happen. I have a brain, therefore the heart will follow the brain. It doesn't happen like that. He has the power to rule it, but he has to rule.
This Ratzono, I want to fit this into.
Excuse me?
I want to fit this in to what we've been learning these last couple of pages. This Ratzono with the. Yeah, this is the nefesh elokis, or the neshama itself. This is the neshama itself.
Well, this is the Ratzon, the Makirch Makifim. It's not the neshama. It's koyach hanefesh. Rotzen is a Kiyach HaNefesh. But it's a higher Koyach,
So,
presenting the Nefesh.
so so it's obviously there's a big exertion to arouse this will that's in the brain. It has to requires a lot to have this.
It's not a big exertion to have the Rotzen. As a matter of fact, we're always saying that even while a person is falling down and transgressing, the neshama is protesting. The neshama screams out in pain. So the neshama screams out in pain. How come he continues on doing this thing?
Who continues doing his thing?
If he doesn't avail it, right? The neshama is protesting. He says, "I don't want to go there." And
Why isn't he ruling basically?
Where is the ruling element? This is the principle of Bechira that we have here in our situation. The Bechira is a pshat, because that both the Nefesh Elokis and the Nefesh Abamis, they can only function by one conduit to the brain. It is the brain that directs whatever action is going to be. And there is a battle over the territory of the brain. And sometimes the Nefesh Abamis usurps our territory. And it forces, it drags the person down into its domain, and then the Nefesh Elokis wakes up and it rebels it. So there is an ongoing battle. And the point that we are saying that the Nefesh Elokis affects a bitul is this. When the Nefesh Abamis drags the Nefesh Elokis into its hole, the Nefesh Elokis is not a consensual.
Sorry, consensual?
Doesn't agree. Doesn't consent.
It doesn't. It's in prison. It does not agree to this whole phenomenon. When Nefesh Elokis affects a bitul Nefesh Abamis recognizes, like we said before,
Sorry, I missed it. What has happened? No, just Nefesh Elokis is not consensual when Nefesh Abamis does away with, does its own.
On the other hand, when Nefesh Elokis affects a bitul Nefesh Abamis, the Nefesh Abamis is broken.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's kafir. It's kafir, but then
It's
after
kafir
it's forced, it says, I want.
And it
I like.
accepts. Let's accept. This is why we say, who is a happy person? Who is a happy person? And we say, he's a wholesome person, everything follows through. One whose Nefesh Abamis is subservient to Nefesh Elokis, or one Nefesh Elokis is subservient to Nefesh Abamis. There is such a thing. The Alter Rebbe says there is a Rosh Gomer, Rahman, and a Rosh Gomer who does not have any sense of remorse. Is he a happy person? He's a miserable person. Okay, now perhaps, now that we have reached clarity, and
he's happy, or the nefesh habahamis is the neshama is happy that he brought bitul to the nefesh habahamis, or the nefesh habahamis is happy that it now it realizes that the environment in which it lives, it's now it realizes what
appreciates the bitul that also is affected in it.
Appreciates, but not the happiness.
They're both happy.
Okay. Yeah, he's happy. I mean, he appreciates. He's very happy. He was brought to a point where he can not reach up himself.
That he cannot
reach himself.
Why is a person who's like at the mercy of his nefesh habahamis, why is he so miserable? Like it seems like he would have like all the fleshly delights that this person would desire. I mean, like he's not. It doesn't seem like he'd be lacking anything really.
Except the neshama. He's not lacking nothing except the neshama.
But you always bring this moshel from the snake. You always say this thing about the snake, that he's a most miserable thing. I mean, he has everything, and he's a most miserable because he's concerned that he's gonna eat it all up. What's gonna happen?
Right.
So that's where misery is from.
Well, that's not his misery. Even to that extent, his misery is that he is completely detached from ruchnius, from godliness. To the extent that he thinks his whole mitzias is a finite mitzias. His whole reason.
Which is the biggest misery you could have.
So you said you were going to start from Nun Tes?
Yeah. All right. Okay, why don't we continue? I mean, we have digested everything here.
But the not leading, we didn't learn that. Well, you learned it this morning very quickly. Is there anything there?
Very quickly. I don't even know how to go quick anymore. Okay. Okay, the line begins habitul. Okay, let's get our bitul together.
Where are we?
Samach Aleph.
Samach Aleph, 7 lines from the top. So the nefesh is capable of affecting bitul gam b'yesh v'chumri hagashmi.
Actually, okay, fine.
This is the bitul.
Mm-hmm. That's why the nefesh will be happy when it's overcome by the nefesh elokis, because it really realizes this is the real thing. This is the bitul that
it right. Sometimes we'll bring this to bring it to the clarity that it's to be possible. Like we always say, the muscle of the host and the guest. No matter what you give him, the presence of the host supersedes everything. Supersedes everything. Take the host away and you lose everything. What's in it? There's some kind of a fundamental truth, reality.
Here's
Like we always say, that to a human being, dignity, respect is more important than any Gashmisik Yesara support. An insult is much more painful than a patch. Right? We discussed this many times.
You describe the neshama as almost like a superpower, yet we see that it's in this whole thing of bitul. How come it's not putting out its message? Why would on the other hand, the nefesh habahamis exceeds to when he sees the power of when he sees the presence of the neshama, he exceeds to it. He says, yes, this is okay. I agree. It's not being, even though it's not like the other way. I agree. What this
There are two parts of the person.
What's the question?
There are two parts of the person: the wise and the stupid. Alter Rebbe explains. The Gemara says, "Ein odem ever avir lam king nichnas bei ruach shtus." So he's not always a chochem. The ruach shtus, the Alter Rebbe says, what's a ruach shtus? Ruach shtus is that he, for the moment, he's blinded to the effect of this avera. Where he thinks he can have both.
Hashem gives the Nefesh Bahamas power to raise its head, it says, right?
Okay?
How? Okay, I'm sorry. I guess I relate very well. How is it? We're talking here about like head-on, clear view, and here's some kind of a ruach going to disturb it. What?
The Baditchever Rav, the Benitzah Baditchever, once stood up on the bima, and he said, Benitzah, I want to have a debate with you. A challenge. You have put your people to a challenge that is not fair. And your judgment doesn't hold out, doesn't hold water, because it says that the world and all its attractions and all its titles, you put right in front of them, they have their noses. The aroma of it hits their nose all the time. The godliness and the Gan Eden and the Olam Haba and all the wonderful things that you stand for, you put in a book. It's possibly not fair. I'd like to suggest to reverse it. Put the Gan Eden and the Olam Haba in front of their noses, their eyes, and put the whole Olam Haba in the book, with all its ramifications, in a fat Tolstoy-sized novel, and see which one they'll choose. So yes, there is this blindness. There is this blindness. Like I mentioned the other day, Yes, the other day. The other day could be 2 hours ago. Let's say we go through a whole thing. That you talk about all in yonim, and Pesachim true, right, and then you turn around and say, come on, be real. Be real. Finished. Reality.
Right. So that's what we spoke like last few days. So we're saying that this thing that you're saying command be real. That's not a ruach. That's a choshech. We're saying that the choshech is a basic reality.
The blindness itself is affected by the ruach shtus. He doesn't see. He doesn't know what he's looking at. It's an argument for a shaitan.
You mean with all the basic reality of the choshech and all the everything else? Like if you really give it a thought, it doesn't hold water at all.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
The proof is not the only proof. This is everybody knows that a Baal Avera, as soon as the Avera is done, is kicking himself and saying, "How did I ever all of this? What's happened to me over here?" But it's an Avera or Chassidus, nicht an Avera or Avera. Anything that is not according up to his level. He kicks himself, doesn't understand whatever happened to me. Right? Right. Okay, so may we proceed?
You forgot how to go fast.
At a high speed.
Now it's not so high speed.
All right. The learning is supposed to be the learning. The hisbonenus and affecting has to be, supposed to be in private.
Yeah, private.
Nobody has to know that you have challenges like that. Okay, let's go. The Yisrael Natli Asiyo. And this is inferred in the Zohar by what the Zohar says, that Yisrael Natli Asiyo, the Yisrael usurped, they took over the Asiyo level. Asiya means the action level. The Ad Leosi Yisrael, which means the Ad Leosi Yisrael, till Yisrael came, this is all Lashon Asiya. Not Ad Leosi Yisrael, Hainu Koide Matan Torah, which means before Matan Torah. Matan Torah, Yisrael were not yet active in the world. Malachim Reimo, the High Malachim, Hava Abdi, Vishalti Basi, Vishalmi Asiya. They used to do Vishalmi. Vishalmi means they used to complete the union from Asiya. The Kados Yisrael, when Yisrael came, not Li'inun Asiya. They took over the level of Asiya. Shenemar, and the Pasuk says, Gibei Koyach, Oisei Dvori. Gibei Koyach, Oisei Dvori. The Gibeirim, Koyach, who do his bidding, his words. The Hodar, Lishmoya Bekol Dvori. And after that he said, Lishmoya Bekol Dvori. And Oisei Dvori and Lishmoya Bekol Dvori means to listen and to obey the voice of his speech. What does that mean? Dine b'malachim is gamkin k'tzas birur. Because in malachim there is also k'tzas, some degree of birur. Okay. let's and again re-emphasize the gist of the whole mimer over here now is birur. This is the greatest accomplishment when you take something at a lower level and elevate it and purify it and bring it to its perfection. This is from birur, and the effect of that is that this is megala nihu atzmus, as we learned before, and this is what we're going to now come to conclusion. Malachim also have that somewhat that accomplishment of doing from birur. Shaharei, since that yesh lohem gamkin gufim, that they too have gufim, they too have bodies. In other words, by a malach also there is a nefesh and a guf. The nefesh is superior to the guf. It's more pure than the guf. Nefesh is one with elokus, and guf is a nivra. Ukmesha kosuf, as the pasuk says, ois a malach of ruchis. He makes his malachim ruchis from ruach. Mishosef is laid, as we explained this morning, that malachim, the gufim, the malachim are composed of two elements, of ruach and eish, the two higher, more finer elements. But nevertheless, these are elements of mitzias. Ach habiro sholahem, however, their birur, einoi birur v'shima min hora. It is not the kind of birur that we are talking about in the neshamas. The birur we're talking about in the neshamas is a birur, is that which the birur is protects you and safeguards you and draws you out from ra, from actual evil. Contrary to elokus. But malachim do not have that type of birur. Let's define ra for a moment. Nobody knows what ra is, so I'm not, might as well bring it up and should know what we're talking about. There is such a thing in the world called ra. Nobody should ever know about it, but there is such a thing. What is ra? In very simple terms, everything, like the Rambam says, Motzu Rishon, Mamzu Kol Nimtza, the first being that brings everything forth. That is the real presence and real source of everything. The hell of the Hester, the Tzimtzumim, where the Elokus is being concealed, and the hell of the Hester that results from that, brings about a state of what's called the Ra. What is the state of Ra? There's a state where there is a confusion. It's a mistake. There's no clarity. No clarity. Take, for instance, in our time, I mentioned it the other day. There's a nefesh and there's a guf. It is the common thought. The common thought of a human being, not one who learns AyinBase, hopefully, but the common thought of a human being. Who needs a nefesh? The nefesh is needed to sustain the guf. If not for the nefesh, the guf would not be able to function. And I would not be able to have a drink mashke. I would not be able to enjoy my whatever it is, my cake and that is the whole thing. The nefesh is there to serve the guf. This is the type of havve hester that this world represents. And a bitul haguf, a bitul of the person, is to put everything in the right perspective. The Rebbe spoke, going back years, and the Rebbe was putting it in such shtus, it's unfathomable. A child is born. The minute the child is born, the minute the child begins to develop, what are the thoughts that the parents have? How is he going to make a living? What about the thought, how is he going to live? What is he going to live with? What's his life going to be about? How's he going to make a living? In other words, you have a nefesh, and the nefesh gives you intellect, and gives you emotion, gives you all kinds of really supreme talent. Talent, that's insignificant. How it can be harnessed, this talent, to make a living, and to feed the body. That's essentially the thought process in the world. Doshet sagt Ra. With the Helen, with Choshech, becomes superior to light, to oil. The Helen takes over the view. And it takes over to such a degree that it makes sense. It really makes sense. How? It makes sense. We can't even begin to challenge it. And therefore, the bitul that we have to be mevared, to shimo mera, to protect and do out from Ra, is a challenge of a real battle, a real opposite. The Ra who does not recognize the Toiv, doesn't give the Toiv any credence. Who needs a nefesh? The nefesh is needed so that the body will be able to appreciate ice cream.
What would, do you need a nefesh to appreciate ice cream?
Of course, a lifeless body. Can you feed ice cream to a bomber? The big Rahmanas, he's not alive. He can't eat ice cream anymore. I don't have to elaborate. I think we're pretty much familiar with this side of our lives.